Today we are talking about communities. What is a community? A community is a group of people who live in the same area, such as a city, town, or neighborhood. There are three different types of communities. There are rural communities, there are suburban communities, and there are urban communities. First, let's talk about rural communities. A rural community is a community with open land, few buildings and businesses, and few people. Because the land and the businesses are so spread out, most times you'll need to take another form of transportation, like a car, to get places in town that you need to go. Now, let's talk about suburban communities. Suburban communities are communities outside of a city where people live in neighborhoods with individual houses or small apartment houses. These houses are normally closer together, and that's what forms the neighborhoods. Many suburban communities also have commercial buildings like grocery stores and other small businesses and shops. Lastly, let's talk about urban communities. An urban community is normally a city community with a lot of tall buildings and a large, dense population. Since so many people live in the cities, houses are much smaller. Many people in cities live in smaller residential buildings called apartments. Many cities have museums and other landmarks you can visit. Now, let's look at some of our favorite characters' own communities. Curious George lives in a rural community. He lives in a home which has lots of open space. In his community, you need a car or truck to get places that you need to go since things are more spread out. His rural community also has a farm. There are pigs, chickens, dogs, and rabbits on the farm. Now, let's look at Arthur's suburban community. Arthur has a house just like Curious George. Arthur has other houses that are closer to his, which makes a neighborhood. Arthur's community has different ways of transportation. His parents drive a car to go to places that are far away. Arthur can ride his bike or walk to go places with friends that are closer to his home. Many suburban communities like Arthur's have different recreational and commercial buildings. Arthur's community has a library, mall, and ice cream shop. Paddington Bear lives in an urban community in London. Just like Curious George and Arthur, Paddington also lives in a home. Homes in cities are smaller because there are so many people. Many people in cities also live in apartments. There are many different forms of transportation in the city. Many people walk or take public transportation like trains, subways, or buses. Cities have many fun things to do. There are many shops, restaurants, museums, and other monuments that people can go visit. Now that we've talked about some different communities, let's review what we've learned. What are the three different types of communities? The three different types of communities are rural, urban, and suburban. What type of community is this? This community is urban. It has tall buildings that are close together, and it's in a city. What type of community does this show? This is a rural community. It has lots of open space, a tractor, and a farm. Lastly, what type of community does this picture show? This picture shows a suburban community. There are houses, small shops, roads, and cars, but it isn't as busy as a city.